I was personally present at a conference in which a speaker made some positive remarks about Harry Potter. Another priest who lives in the Caribbean, and who at that time had 17 years as an exorcist, immediately jumped up, slammed his fist on the table, and spoke out in a very loud and forceful tone. I took notes. Harry Potter is pure wickedness. I'm sick of hearing about Harry Potter. It's a gateway to the occult. I'm pretty big. Well, that's for sure. He could play pro ball. A great big guy, maybe about 300 pounds. I'm pretty big. Another priest and I were sitting on a couch, and a teenage boy, maybe 115 pounds, picked the couch up and held it up by one leg. I speak to him in English. He answers in English. I speak to him in Latin. He answers in Latin. I speak to him in Italian. He answers in Italian. I speak to him in Spanish. He answers in Spanish. I speak to him in German. He answers in German. When I was exorcising him, I asked where all this came from. The demon said, Harry Potter. I had 4 cases in one day of people with demonic problems as a result of involvement in Harry Potter. I don't want to hear anything about Harry Potter. Not everyone gets possessed, but watch out. It was an impressive intervention. Okay, so maybe some folks don't want to listen to the pro-life media comments. Maybe some folks aren't much moved by the comments of an author and a religious artist. Maybe some folks can find some way to weasel around the words of Cardinal Ratzinger. But if we're not going to listen to the psalm warnings of the exorcists, the guys that actually fight the devil, exorcists from Mexico, Rome, and the Caribbean, well, then all I can say is that pride goeth before the fall. Okay, now let's turn to the men of the church. We'll start at the top. Cardinal Ratzinger. In 2003, Cardinal Ratzinger received a manuscript of a book critical of Harry Potter from a German author. In a letter to the author, he stated, quote, "It is good that you enlighten people about Harry Potter, because those are subtle seductions which act unnoticed, and by this deeply distort Christianity in the soul before it can grow properly." Close quote, Cardinal Ratzinger. It is good that you enlighten people about Harry Potter, because these are subtle seductions which act unnoticed and by this deeply distort Christianity in the soul before it can grow properly. Now let's turn to the men who actually engage in combat with the devil. The exorcists. Mexico. Father Pedro Mendoza, the leading exorcist of the Archdiocese of Mexico City, said the popular Harry Potter book and film series could allow the devil to enter children's minds and does a lot of damage. If you put all these ideas in a child's head, that he can become a wizard, the child believes that, and that is opening an avenue through which the devil can get in, Mendoza said as the series' final book went on sale. Rome. Father Gabriel Amorth, formerly the chief exorcist of Rome, and with 50,000 some exorcisms, the most experienced exorcist in the world, has stated, quote, "You start off with Harry Potter, who comes across as a likable wizard, but you end up with the devil. There is no doubt that the signature of the Prince of Darkness is clearly within these books." Close quote. The exorcists also criticized the disordered morality presented in Rowling's works, noting that they suggest that rules can be contravened and lying is justified when they work to one's benefit. The Vatican's former chief exorcist also says, quote, "Practicing yoga is satanic. It leads to evil just like reading Harry Potter." Close quote. One more exorcist story found on LifeSite News. Quote, Toronto, August 23rd, 2007, lifesitenews.com. LifeSite News receives angry and often hate-filled responses to its news reports on mainly 3 subjects. The most hateful and threatening come from San Francisco activists. Second are the angry emails from abortion and population control activists. Third has been the bizarre response to our Harry Potter reports. Every time LifeSite News publishes an article with an alternative view that is critical of the Harry Potter series, we get a flurry of angry and sometimes downright hateful emails from Harry Potter devotees. Close quote. Now that's pretty amazing. The greatest number of angry and hate-filled responses from San Francisco activists, pro-abortion activists, and Harry Potter fans. Obviously this topic stirs up some emotions. Let's just quickly consider a few problems with Harry Potter. This would obviously pertain to Twilight and similar things. We'll start with a few insightful comments from the Catholic author and artist, a man who writes icons, Michael O'Brien. Quote, "The most obvious problem, of course, is the author's use of the symbol world of the occult as a primary metaphor, and occultic activities as the dramatic engine of these plots. It presents these to the child reader through attractive role models, such as Harry and Hermione, who are students of witchcraft and sorcery. This has the potential of lowering a child's guard, both subconscious and spiritual, to actual occult activity, which is everywhere and growing. Rationally, children know that the fantasy elements in the books is not real. But emotionally and subconsciously, the young reader absorbs it as real. This is further complicated by the fact that in the world around us, there are many opportunities for young people to enter the occult subcultures where some of Harry's powers are indeed offered as real. It is important to note that children read fiction with a different consciousness than adults. This is something that has been overlooked by those Christian leaders who have written pro-Potter commentaries. They forget that children are in a state of formation, that their understanding of reality is being forged at every turn. Wholesome fantasy, regardless of how wildly imaginative it may be, reinforces the moral order of the universe in a child's mind. Corrupt fantasy undermines it. The Potter world is corrupt fantasy with a little cosmetics. The cosmetics are the values woven into the tale by the author. Close quotes, Michael O'Brien. Now, I can't recommend Michael O'Brien's insights highly enough. They're easy to find. Just go to LifeSite News and search for Harry Potter. It's a treasure trove of information, LifeSite News.